Hey Lawn Care Nation, so today I'm going to be taking a look at this Idoing Android-based vehicle infotainment center or radio head unit, you could call it as well. Now, if you guys remember, about a year ago, I did some videos on upgrading your lawn care truck to an Android-based head unit, especially if you have an older lawn care truck, to kind of bring it up to modern standards, give it some of those features that all the modern cars have, like mapping systems, GPS, things like Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. And I installed one of those generic double DIN sized units in my 2005 GMC Sierra, and it's been absolutely fantastic having those modern features in my older lawn care truck. I also did another video installing a second double DIN unit in one of my personal vehicles, where the installation was a little bit different in that with the truck, the factory radio was a double DIN size unit, so it was a matter of just pulling that one out and putting the new one in with no modifications to the dashboard. With my personal vehicle, it was a more modern vehicle where the radio system is actually built into the aesthetic of the dashboard, so it required removing part of the dash and buying a different dash kit to be able to fit a double DIN Android unit in there to kind of give it a semi factory kind of look, although you can still see that it's an aftermarket unit in there. So what initially caught my eye when I went to their website to look at what they had to offer was that not only did they offer those traditional double DIN style Android-based head units that had all of those great features like Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and all that sort of stuff, but they also made vehicle-specific units. They had a huge catalog of all of the different vehicles, including some of the most popular pickup trucks like the Ford F-150, the Dodge Rams, Chevy Silverados, GMC Sierras, all of those modern vehicles that have those infotainment systems that are built into the aesthetic of the dash. And what makes them unique is that because they're making vehicle-specific head units, they make them with the actual dash bezel built into the unit that matches your specific vehicle exactly, so that it retains that complete factory look. There's no branding or anything on these even. So once it's installed, you've got an infotainment system where you might otherwise not have one or might have an outdated one. And you've got a full Android-based unit that has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that sort of stuff. And it looks absolutely factory installed with the exact matching bezel that the factory vehicle radio would have come with. The other really nice thing is that the installation of this unit is far easier than those other generic units. With my pickup truck, when I installed the generic double DIN unit, I had to purchase a separate canbus system, basically a interface system that allowed that new Android Auto system to basically talk with my vehicle's system, to be able to use things like the steering wheel controls, to be able to interface with the Bose audio system that I had in that specific vehicle. So you had to buy separate pieces, had to do some soldering, cutting some wires to add a separate harness to that radio harness to be able to plug it and play into my truck. So it was a bit more of an ordeal. With these Idoing vehicle specific kits, because they know exactly what car this is going into, not only do you get that factory bezel all built in and look, but you get all of the wiring needed to just plug and play into your vehicle. So essentially all you're doing is removing the old audio system and then taking the wiring in this unit and just plugging it in to the factory vehicle connectors in your dashboard, so that this unit will work, and it will use your steering wheel controls already for this vehicle. It'll use the factory backup cameras. And all of the features that your specific vehicle has and uses with the factory radio that you may have will all work with the Idoing set, with just all of the added features of having this full nice touchscreen and all of the benefits of having an Android-based audio system. So let's take a look at what comes in the box. Okay, so besides the actual head unit itself, and as you can see, this unit is really nice. It's got a massive 10.2-inch diagonal screen on it, which is just huge. The previous double DIN units usually max out around 7 inches or so for the screen size. So this being 10.2 is just massive. It comes with all of the wiring harnesses, including the canbus interface system for this specific vehicle. Comes with all of the other adapters and connectors that you need to install it. A microphone, some Wi-Fi antennas, the USB ports to be able to install into the vehicle. Some little Wi-Fi antennas, a GPS antenna, even comes with some trim, plastic trim pry tools to be able to remove all of the trim dash panels off your vehicle without damaging them. So absolutely awesome. And then of course the documentation that comes with the unit itself. Okay, so since I have already installed one of these modern Android head units in my lawn care vehicle, as well as one of my personal vehicles, I decided to put one into my wife's 2016 Nissan Rogue, and that's what this bezel and unit are for. So let's head on over to the vehicle and see how this thing goes in. All right, so let's take a look inside my wife's Nissan Rogue. So you can see the factory radio there, just a basic radio, CD player, just older technology there. You can see that factory bezel. That is kind of part of the dash there. And if I hold up the Idoing unit next to it, you can see just how much more modern this is going to look with this massive screen on there. You can see the cutout there for the heater controls and all that that will fit there. So let's get started. Now obviously every installation for every vehicle is going to be different. So you know, I'm going to be doing this on this Rogue, which involves taking out this vent here, pulling off this trim piece, pulling off the other side of the dash there, just this part where the vehicle start button is, and that will expose the screws and clips to be able to remove both the heater unit and the radio unit. On the factory radio, these are two separate pieces. On the new Idoing unit, of course, it's all one piece. So then we are going to be transferring the heater controls, unscrewing it from this bezel, as well as the airbag light, installing it on this unit, and transferring all the clips that hold this in place onto the Idoing unit. So let's get started. The first step here is to remove this little side panel here to be able to expose the screw for the vent, so we can remove that and then get to that trim panel. So let's get started. Got a screw here to remove. So I was able to work this out, just slowly pulling on it. It had a clip that was not wanting to come out, but as I pulled, the whole bottom half of the heater part came out as well, so then it was easy to remove it. Just want to be careful with it. I'm not going to disconnect it because I'll need to use the button to turn the power on for checking the Idoing unit once we get to that stage. So I'm going to leave that hanging. Now with the radio, you can reach under it there, and then, or sorry, the heater, you can reach under it there and pull it free. You can see the factory unit is two separate units On the back of this, it looks like we've got 2 connectors. So I'm just going to find the clips for that to see where to be able to unclip that one and then unclip that one so we can pull that free. Now on the back of this unit here, you'll see that there's some screws that we're going to have to undo and a couple of clips here. That'll release the actual heater unit and the airbag light module from those spots so that we can transfer them to the Idoing unit. So now with the radio itself, we are going to have to remove a couple of screws. We've got a couple of Phillips screws inside there, one there, one there, and then there's a couple at the top of either side there. And then that should pull it free. There's probably some clips there as well. Those in the cup holder so I don't misplace them. And there we go. Now, before we remove the old radio, if you have a CD player, you want to hit the eject button and just make sure that there's no CDs in there because you won't be able to get them back out once you disconnect power. Let's see, we still got some clips holding this unit in. And there we go. Now the factory unit is free and we're just going to have to disconnect the wiring here. You want to be careful of the old metal brackets so you don't scratch up your dash. And looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 connectors. So I'm just going to start to try to work those out. There's one. And then the old unit comes out. All right, so you can see I've laid out the original radio here. We've got the heater controls here, and we're going to transfer this stuff over to the Idoing unit. So there's a few screws we have to take out. So that's the airbag light. There's also some clips here. Okay, so it took a little bit of wrestling to get all of the clips off, but using those same little tools that came with the install kit, I was able to just pull the tabs back and pull them out. So we got the heater controls out, transfer those over. All right, nice fit. Next, we got to transfer a bunch of these clips. It's not going to use all of them. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've got 4 more. So we'll just need 4 of the 6 that are on the original head unit. See what the easiest way to pull these off is. The second one, you got to work at them, being careful so you don't break them. So I'm going to continue that and then we'll get back into it. I got all of those clips off, at least the ones that I needed. Again, we're not going to need the last 2 clips. It only needs 4 from the radio unit and then 4 from the original heater unit. The other thing that the aftermarket system is not going to use is any of the brackets and the original screws that hold the radio in place. They're not necessary, so I'm going to take those original screws and I'm going to put them back into the vehicle, into the slot on their own, in case I ever need to put this radio back in. Once you pull those clips off, you're probably going to have to bend them back a little bit to get them to bite back down. And just start pushing them back into place. And there we go. So we got all the clips transferred that we're going to need. The screws, the heater unit, the ABS light, and we're ready to start putting this back in the car. So we're going to take the main wiring harness here. This unit has that canbus interface here. You might want to take a picture of this label here. You might need that in case you need to reference it back later if you have to tweak any of the settings. On this one here, we have to remember that these bottom 2 connectors here was for the heater control and the ABS light coming out of the bottom. It's these top ones here that are for the radio, and we're not going to necessarily use all of them. There's one here that we're not going to use. So we're just going to go through it and see which ones of these will connect. A lot of these connectors will only connect to one particular item. There's 2 of these matching larger white plugs. We're going to use the one that has the most wires out of it. There's one with a few wires and one with a lot of them. We're going to use the one with a lot of them. So we'll find that matching one there, and that's this unit here. And we'll plug that in. The next one is a little bit smaller. That looks like it's the one here. And put that one in. And remembering not to mix up those heater ones there. We've got one gray looking one that matches up with this gray one here. This unit here, we're not going to use. I think that's for the Sirius satellite. We're not using that, so that can be tucked away. This one coming off of here is going to go to the radio as the antenna. This is the main harness going to the new radio here. This RCA cable says cam out. This is the backup camera, so we'll have to remember that one. And this one here, as I mentioned earlier, we're not using for this particular application. So now we're going to find some other connectors that we need. So there's the USB looking mini USB port there. That's coming from the USB port down here underneath the dash. So you get this little wire in the back there in the kit that has that same USB there. So we plug that in. That gives us a regular USB-A that we're going to interface. And we're going to use this bundle here that has 2 USB ports on it. You'll notice that one of them says CarLink on the label. So that's the one that's wired to go to this plug here. So we want to make sure that we're using that particular one. So find the one that says CarLink on the label. That's this one here. And that's where we're going to plug that end there. Is that one there with the CarLink designation on it. We also have this one here with this little square white one there that says auxiliary left in and auxiliary right in. So that one looks like it matches up with this one here. Now we do have a couple of other connections here. Some we may use, some we may not use. This one here we're going to use. This one goes to the radio on this side. and it goes to the cam out. So that backup camera one that we saw there that said cam out goes to this CCD audio video in. That's the only one we're going to use out of these three on this harness, and then this plugs into the back of the new radio. So we'll take that and plug that one in right there. And then this one here is a Wi-Fi antenna. This one screws into the back of the radio. It's got some double-sided tape that you can kind of like stick up in an area up there. Unpeel it and see if that'll work up there. Underneath the dash, so it's out of the way. Some extra cable we can tuck back there. And then we also have a GPS antenna. There's a little flat spot over here that I can feel. And now we can bring the radio up and then see what we're left with. And on the back of the radio here, all of the spots that these are going to connect to, the one main black connector is going on this side here. All of the other connectors will go on this side here, and they all only fit in one of these spots. They will not work in the other spots. So you just got to match up the size and put them in there, and you're good to go. The GPS antenna goes here. That's the one we just stuck up over there. And then that long Wi-Fi antenna, that one goes up to one of these Wi-Fi ports here. I'm just going to hook up those two for now. The radio antenna that we got off of that gray connector, that's going to go back there. So the first one I'm going to do is this can be a little bit tight as there's not much room when you start getting into doing these. I'm going to hook up that black connector first. And you want to make sure all of these are good and tight and pressed in there. Just like that. This one here, we're going to find the appropriate spot for. And again, it'll only fit in that one particular spot. So that one there goes there. We have that CarLink one. Looks like it goes in the bottom corner here. That's that one. Got the actual car radio antenna. That one there. And we're also going to need this connector here for those two wires on that white square connector that we put on there. They say auxiliary left out, auxiliary right out. And on this cluster here, you'll see a bunch of what looks like speaker ones with right rear and left rear, front right, and left right. There is also the matching auxiliary in left and auxiliary in right in the matching colors. So we're going to put those ones into there. And then that allows us to connect this one. And to that top corner, in the only spot that that one will fit. The rest of these ones here we're not using. Looks like they are for maybe amplifiers. If you're going to put any external amps and things on here. This one here is for your SIM card. If you're going to add a data plan to this, you can see the little door opens. You can put a SIM card in there. But it also has a little, it says Bluetooth antenna right there. So I'm not sure if I need this one because I don't plan on using a SIM card, but I'm going to plug it in because of that Bluetooth antenna designation right there, just in case that's needed for Bluetooth connectivity. So I got that one hooked in. And we've got 2 spots left for connectors. One of them is for an additional USB connector. I'm not gonna use that one for the time being, but this could be used for things like dash cams and things like that that you may want to connect. We still already have that second USB port that we're not going to be using over here beside that CarLink one. We also have a connector here for the only other spot that's there for the external microphone, if you're going to use an external microphone. So what I might do actually is just plug them in just to have, if I ever want to use them, I know where they are. All right, so we have a connector in all of the spots now in the back of the radio. The only things left now are that GPS antenna, and now that we have those everything plugged in, we can now put these on top where they won't interfere. So this one's for the GPS antenna, and then we'll have this one here for that Wi-Fi antenna. So the only things that we have left here, if we choose to hook them up, there's a couple of these shorter antennas there that I guess we could have used in place of those longer ones, but we're not going to use those. And as well, the external microphone that goes into that plug that we just put in right there. It's like a headphone jack type of thing. I'm going to see how well it works for phone calls and stuff with just the built-in little microphone hole in the front. In some of the other radios I've done, I have experienced that little microphone hole in the front is more than sufficient and works well enough to be able to not have and wire the rest of the other microphone in there. So the only thing left to do here now is to tuck these wires back in place there, and then to also hook up those heater controls, but those are on a shorter lead, so we're going to have to kind of carefully do that as we get the wires all kind of tucked away. I'm going to try to put all this stuff up into the void here, while at the same time reaching for the heater. Now these might be a little bit more difficult because again, there's not any room here to pull the radio very far forward, but you heard that one click, that was the ABS. And now the heater controls going into the back of the heater control unit there, fitting it there before we press down on all of those clips. Now, when replacing it on this particular one, you'll remember the factory was 2 separate pieces. This is 1 piece now, so we have a portion of this part where the start button is, where it has to go underneath the radio, and then this portion at the top goes above the radio. So it's a little bit different installation than what it was before. So you want to just kind of pull the back of the radio, just tuck that under there, and then pull the top one over there. And just kind of loosely fit that without pressing it down for the time being, just so we can do our tests and turn on the unit. So I think we're ready to power it on. I've got keys in my pocket, so I should be able to and there we go, good sign. We've got the unit powered on. All right, so now that everything is working initially here, I'm gonna snap everything back into place and lock it into place. So I've got this part tucked underneath there, and then this part will be above it there. Just wanna make sure that those line up into the holes. And just kind of press all of the pieces back in there. And then now this one here. So we get those all to snap. And so even without those screws, you can see this is really tight. It's not going anywhere, especially with the overlap of the dash on this bezel. And then we just need our long bezel here for this part of the dash. Snap back into place there. Put this one back on. Put our little side panel back on. Initial installation here, and I say initial only because I'm going to obviously test it and see how it does, but just a super clean looking install. Gives the vehicle that factory look, but really modernizes it with that big huge infotainment center style screen. So hey, Lawn Care Nation, let's fast forward a little bit. It's actually been a few weeks now since the first half of that video where we left off and I had finished installing the unit. I ran into a couple of slight little issues initially with getting steering wheel controls to work and that sort of stuff. So I decided to stop recording the video at that point, work through all those issues, see what else would arise. And then give it a few weeks of using the radio and learning all about it so that I can then kind of share with you guys how to get over those issues if you're having the same sort of issues. The thing with this radio is that there's no installation instructions, there's no documentation or anything like that. So there's going to be a bit of trial and error when you're installing it, you know, the different plugs and all that sort of stuff. I would recommend going on to other YouTube videos, searching for your specific vehicle, and you'll see a ton of videos on these different Idoing radios for different vehicles, and you might be able to get a better sense for the specific vehicle you're using. But I'll walk you through some of the stuff that I had issues with, and because there's no documentation that comes with these, and I looked online, there wasn't anything that I could find as well. I had to email back and forth with the company and get some answers, and they were helpful there. And a lot of it I just figured out on my own between, you know, waiting for a response from them and stuff like that, or just be researching and getting through some of the stuff. So initially, one of the things that threw me off, like I said, was the steering wheel controls. And also on the harness itself, I noticed that there was a cut wire. The actual wire was like cut. There was no other piece to it or anything like that. So that was throwing me off because I thought maybe that had something to do with the steering wheel controls not working, that maybe possibly there was an issue, but it turns out that that is normal. A lot of stereos, and from my past experience installing them too, it depends on your electrical system in your vehicle. Some basically they call like a positive side or a negative side that you have to connect to for the steering wheel controls to work. Every car will use one or the other. So in this case, it's basically just a generic plug that they're using. And then they're just snipping off the one that's not needed for the specific vehicle that you're buying the kit with. So that's why that little wire was cut. So the other reason why I couldn't get the steering wheel controls to work with this was because the little interface box, that canbus box they call it, wasn't actually programmed for this vehicle yet. It allows you to program it for all different types of vehicles. So I just had to go into the settings and figure out how to do that. And it was very simple once I knew how to do it. So I'll walk you through that as well. And then we'll go through some of the issues. So let's turn the unit on and turn the camera around, and we'll get into it. All right, so here is the radio. And you can see we've changed the launcher on it to a launcher that my wife likes using for the layout. Again, like I said, originally my steering wheel controls weren't working, and as you can see right now, they are working. So if I press the volume up, you're going to see the little volume up come down. If I press it down, it's going to come down. But initially, that wasn't working along with any of the other buttons on the steering wheel. So how I figured that out was going up here to the settings, pressing that little gear icon there. It's going to bring you to a settings page where you can adjust a bunch of different settings. What we want to do is go to the factory tab there, and it's going to ask you for a password. It's 3368 for these Idoings. Hit enter, and it's going to bring you into sort of a hidden menu. And right here where it says car model is where you can configure that CAN bus box. So if we click that, you can see that it's set at iX Simple, then car brand Nissan, Qashqai, and then the CAN box is set to low. Now when I originally got this, it was set to null or no protocol. So when I went into here and saw there was like nothing selected, and that's why if we go to the steering wheel controls now and I press up volume, nothing's happening. If I press down volume, nothing's happening, and that's because there was no vehicle selected for that CAN bus to work. So what you want to do is go through the settings here, and you can see it. There's all different brands, but the box or CAN bus box, the brand that comes with this unit, you'll notice on the sticker on that CAN bus when you're installing it, says Simple Technologies. So it's this XP Simple one here, and then you're going to find it's going to populate a bunch of different car brands. This is a Nissan. And then you're going to find the model. Now, they don't have the Rogue, which is the North American version of what they sell worldwide as called the Qashqai. So I'm going to select Qashqai because that's the same vehicle, just a different name. And then the CAN bus box says low or high. And what that means is just your trim level. So if you have a vehicle that's one of their high level models that has like a bunch of options, like maybe the 360 cameras and all that sort of stuff, you're going to go to high. And if you select low, then it's a lower trim level. Mine is not the lowest level, it's the mid level, but it doesn't have all the extra features and stuff. So I'm going to select low. The only reason you're going to have to play around with this to see which one works for you. If you know that you have a top of the line model, then just go to the high level. With those medium to lower models, like on this one, if I select high, you can see that it changes the display there. It says Nissan Qashqai. But what happens though is if I go to high, you'll notice, and I go to the home, that it's going to add a new icon here, which is this little icon here that you can kind of move around the screen and stuff. And that's for, it looks like for like, it's a camera mode there. And I noticed that from the settings. So if I press it, nothing's happening because this vehicle doesn't have like the 360 cameras or whatever like that. So that would let you get into that settings or whatever the case for that. And there's no way to get rid of this little icon because it doesn't actually have that. So if I go back to the settings there, and then go back to 3368, and then go back to the Nissan Qashqai and go to low, which is what this vehicle is. It's just a mid-level model, and then click enter. Then it gets rid of that unused icon, which is kind of annoying to have on the screen because I don't need it. So you want to play around with the settings to see which one works for you. But now you'll see that if I go to my steering wheel controls, and you see my steering wheel controls are working now. The volume up and down, as well as all the other buttons. If I go through like the source button here, it'll go through the radio and go through all the different types of settings there. Okay, so that was how to get the steering wheel controls to work on this specific model. You'll notice as well Now, if I go into the other apps that are built in, there is an app here, SWC, that is steering wheel controls. But you'll notice here it's all set to null because I've changed all those settings through that CAN bus for this specific vehicle. So it already knows all of the layouts that are needed for all of the steering wheel control buttons. So there's no need to do it individually. If you didn't have a CAN bus box, that's why this is here. If it was, you were using this radio, without a specific vehicle in mind. Of course, now this radio has been built into a bezel specifically for this, but basically it's the same guts that they're using in terms of the radio in all of the different bezels and stuff for all the different models. So that's why they kind of provide this generic part here, because the guts of the radio itself were meant to be used in any different type of model. So that's why you don't have to really worry about this as long as that CAN bus is set to your specific vehicle there. Now, another setting that was kind of throwing me off was under this touch assistant, and this may look different for you depending on which launcher you have, but basically it's just in where the apps are. So if we go to that touch assistant, one of the things that was kind of throwing me off was display button, and you'll see that that little button popped up here. So when I first turned on the radio, it had this, again, this little other button here. Kind of looks like the home little home button that you can enable, software home button on an iPhone that you can enable and kind of move around to different parts of your screen. And basically all it does is it opens up different like settings menu type thing. It's kind of redundant there. It's got the home, the apps, and all sorts of little things there. And I couldn't figure out how to get rid of that. And it is just through that little touch assistant there. And then right at the top there, it's going to say display button. And there's going to be a little box with a check mark that you want to uncheck. And that will get rid of that little floating button there that is kind of redundant and not necessary either. So that was the other thing that I had to sort of sort out as well. Now you'll remember through my installation that initially I did not hook up the external microphone on this unit and was relying on the microphone that's right there in the top corner built into the unit. And we found that this microphone wasn't clear enough. Sitting in traffic, it puts you quite a distance away from the microphone, in the driver's position. If you're like sitting over here, that microphone is all the way over there, and it's not quite loud enough. The factory microphone on this vehicle is up here in the grill, so you can see it's a lot closer to the driver than that one's quite a bit of distance. So I ended up installing the external mic and putting it on the just the pillar here, and this one is a lot clearer. It's also a lot bigger microphone diaphragm, so this one works a heck of a lot better. So I would suggest installing that as well. The only other thing that I can say here that I ran into a little bit of issues with was with the radio itself. So I'm going to go into the radio here, and that was initially I couldn't get the radio stations to tune exactly to the radio stations here. They were always off by a couple. So like this one here is not supposed to be 93.7, but it would be like 93.9 or something like that. It wouldn't go to 0.7. Or if another station here like 94.5, it would be, all of them were completely off by just a few digits, but it would make them all very not clear, a lot of static and all that sort of stuff. So what I found here was I knew that this was an issue on some other Android head units that I did as well. And it's just changing the region of the world that you're in, so it knows the frequencies that you would want to tune into. But I couldn't figure out how to do it on here, and because I was looking for like the settings for the radio specifically, and I couldn't find them. It's actually down at the bottom here. You just got to scroll sideways until you get to the side. I didn't see that you could actually scroll sideways there. I thought it was just fixed on these fixed at these settings right here. I couldn't see one for the actual settings, but you just pull sideways and then the little gear icon is there. And then you want to select your radio area where it says here, and I put it on USA 1 for North America, and that works. I think it was on Europe default when I first turned it on, and that's why the radio wasn't working. So that's that issue there. Now it tunes in exactly to the stations. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to mention and show is the vehicle's factory backup camera being used by the Idoing unit. So again, because this is a kit that's made specifically for this vehicle, or whatever vehicle that you buy it for, including the CAN box and all the wiring and stuff, it does tap into the vehicle's rear backup camera. So you don't have to add a an extra backup camera or anything like that. So if I put the car in reverse, you'll see that it switches, and there you go. So you're not going to see anything. My garage door there is in the back. You can kind of see up in the corner there the hinges of the garage door and the panel there. But that shows you that it is working. You can turn on and off the lines that are there in the settings. One thing that I'll mention here, and it might be hard to see on camera there, is that it's pretty grainy looking, and that is because the camera originally there was set for the original radio, and the original radio had a tiny little screen that showed the backup camera, and on that screen it looked pretty acceptable. But then when you blow it up to a big 12-inch screen, it's going to be a lot grainier. So don't expect like Ultra HD or anything with using the factory backup camera, but it's more than sufficient to do what you're using it for, just to see the cars behind you when you're backing up or seeing any obstacles and stuff. So it works perfectly fine in that sense. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how you can change your launcher. So the launcher is what the radio looks like, the interface basically. Being Android, you can make this however you want. This radio comes with about 6 or 7 different launchers that you can change, but you can also download Android Auto launchers off the Google Play Store. Some of them are free, some of them you pay for, and you can really customize it however you want. We've settled on this one. My wife likes the simplicity of it, especially when she's driving, just to have the basic things that she uses right up front. So she just wanted like the date on this one, the radio, controls to the Bluetooth, and then Apple CarPlay. That's, really all she's ever using. To change the background image there, you just tap on the screen anywhere where there's not a widget, and that's going to bring up some of the background images. You can do widgets, live wallpapers and wallpapers. If I tap that, you can see it gives you a bunch of different preloaded wallpapers and stuff that you can go through. We settled on this one. This is actually the one that was on the radio when I first turned it on. Really like the pattern there. It actually matches the seat fabric pattern. So that's why we like that one there. I'm going to set that as the wallpaper. And all the widgets here, again, like I said, are interchangeable with all those. You just tap on a widget and you can like move it around. You can move it to other pages and bring other widgets from these other pages over to this page. So we just kind of kept it here kind of symmetrical, easy to use. The radio one, of course, if I tap it, just goes to the radio app. You can switch your radio stations and all that sort of stuff. Hit the home button to go back home. Bluetooth brings you to the Bluetooth phone controls. So you can dial, you can set up Bluetooth devices and stuff through the settings there. Go to your contacts list and things that's on your phone. The clock there is just stagnant there, just kind of shows the clock. If you tap that, it just goes to the settings for the clock and changing the clock and the calendar. And then the CarLink 2.0 is the wireless and wired Apple CarPlay. So if I tap that, it just interfaces with my phone. And this is 99.9% of the time what we're using in our vehicles is always Apple CarPlay. We'll have the radio playing. So initially, to get the radio going, what we'll do is, we'll come in, turn on the radio. I've got the volume down, of course, right now, but the radio is playing right now in the background. Then you just go home and then go to Apple CarPlay, and the radio music is still playing in the background. But now you got your Apple CarPlay functions and stuff. If you're not going to be using, your music app or other things that you might have, you got Amazon Music, podcasts, all sorts of stuff that you could listen to. Of course, Spotify you could have on here. Anything like that. But this is 99% of the time what we're doing. If we're using maps and all that sort of stuff, it's all through the interface through Apple CarPlay. The same would be said if you're doing Android Auto. You know, you could set that up as well through Android Auto. That's this Carbit link one. It is used for the Android Auto side of things. And again, like I said, you got the auxiliary there and all that sort of stuff. It comes with a video player there, and they've got a couple of preloaded different videos and stuff that you can look at. Your different equalizer, there's an equalizer app as well, so you can tap that, and then you got all sorts of different options for equalizers and change. You know, they've got some presets here. You can see here: soft, classic, pop, hall, jazz. I usually like the rock one, kind of a good balance there. But at any rate, you can change the surround sound of it. It's a bass enhancement, your field. So you got a picture of the vehicle's layout here. So if I want sound just coming to the front driver's corner, I can do that. If I want to go just to the back right side or back left, or however I want it, I can basically just have it all and set. And they have some presets here. So if I want like driver sound, mostly on the side there, mostly in the rear, or all. Very cool. Like, just so much that you can do with it and dive into if you really want to nerd out on that sort of stuff. Okay, so to switch the launcher, what you're going to do is go back into the settings and go into that factory tab there, where it's going to ask you for that password 3368. Go into that. This is also the screen where you're going to switch your microphone if you want. So you can see that back mic switch, back mic. So that just means the microphone that you have connected to the connector on the back of the radio. That's for the external microphone, the one up here that we've mounted. So you can see it says back mic is on. If I were to switch that off, that switches to front mic. So then now it's saying your phone calls are going to be using that front mic. That's the one that we tested and wasn't really that good. So I'm going to make sure I switch that back to that back mic, which is that external mic. To change the car launcher, we're just going to scroll down. You can also change the boot screen logo. I'm just seeing that here, so we'll go check that out. So that is where you can actually put in all of the different vehicle. They've got logos for all sorts of vehicles here, and you can see here, I'm going to switch mine to Nissan. So that's only going to show up when you reboot the device. It'll show up as your boot launcher there. But we're going to keep scrolling down, looking for the launcher screen. And right here, home launcher set selection. So we're going to tap that, and it's going to ask for another password. This is not the same password. It's a different one. It's 7171. Click confirm, and now it's going to give you a different one. So I'm on UI 13. The one that comes initially with the radio is UI 11. So if you tap that one, you're going to see that's that initial home screen. I really like this home screen as well. I like the look of it. I think it's really nice. The only problem with this one is you can't customize any of these buttons on the front. So you can't change them. You can see you can go to the apps, and there's all the different apps and stuff there. And I really like the look of this, but you just can't customize it. So it's not one that we ended up using because my wife was driving. You know, it has this music app here that we never use. That's only for music that's like downloaded on this radio thing. You can't change that. You know, the radio app is there, but then, you know, to go to Apple CarPlay, you had to tap the apps and then go find it up in here to do it. So it just wasn't as convenient. So we found that the other launcher let you customize more. This one does not let you customize. So if we want to change it to another one, go back to settings, 3368 again for that factory one. Go to the launcher selection, 7171, confirm, and we can select a different launcher. So let's go to number 8. So you can see this one is completely different as well. This one gives you your speed control and all that sort of stuff. This one doesn't have any sort of screens or anything. If you want to go to the apps, it'll be through here that you go. So you can see there's just so many different ones that you can change if you want to go back. 3368, and then click home launcher again, 7171. Go to a different one. Let's just pick a random one there. And there's another look that you could do. There's, like I said, there's so many that you can go through and find that are just preloaded on here. I'll let you guys figure that out to go through the different ones, but it's all the same passwords that you go into. And then I'm going to go back to 13. That's the one that we settled on, that we liked, and that's that one there. Looks like my screen background got changed, so I want to make sure, switch that back to that, and go back to how that looks. Now, in terms of video apps, this of course has YouTube already installed in it. So if we tap on that, you can see my YouTube channel is preloaded there. We can go into that and take a look at some of the videos there and expand that to full screen. We're featuring the all-new, more powerful Milwaukee M18 Quick Lock attachment capable system. You see a nice full-size screen, looks fantastic for all of your different video type needs. Now, another kind of interesting thing is that this is Android 12 that this is running, and apparently you can download all of the other type of video apps like Netflix and Disney Play and all that sort of stuff. I haven't tried that yet, so we're going to try that right now. On previous versions of Android running in these types of units, if you were to search those in the Play Store, they wouldn't show up. They weren't compatible with the unit, and the only way to make them work would be to sideload old versions of the Netflix app and things like that, and find an old version that would work on a device, and it'd be a bit buggy and stuff. So let's see if we can actually find a unit and see if it'll work. Let's get started. And let's see if we can search for something. Let's try to look for Netflix and see if it comes up. So Netflix is coming up. Let's install. On previous versions, it wouldn't even let you do that. But because this is Android 12, it does let you open up Netflix. So, and there we go. We got Netflix happening there. Just got to sign into my account. But yeah, there you go. You can have Netflix working on your device there. How about, there's the Netflix app. See, then that pops up there. Play Store, let's find about Disney Plus. Yeah, same thing. Oh, this one says this app won't work on your device. So it's going to be hit or miss with some of the devices. Prime Video, that one says that one will work. You can install that. And there we go. And Prime Video loaded up and ready to go. Just need to log in with the account details and you'll have your Prime Video as well. So Disney Plus is not working, not compatible, it says, but and there we go. We got Prime Video on there now as well. Just need to log in, but I don't use the unit for watching movies or things in the vehicle, so I'm not going to bother putting in my details and credentials on there, but interesting to see that works. But yeah, essentially that is the radio. It has been fantastic. Again, the screen, like I say, when you're driving at night and during the day with CarPlay, it's been really bright, very responsive, very quick. You can see here, like it's very responsive to the touch. Very simple unit to use in the UI. This launcher number 13 is really great as well. Like I said, keeps it really simple. This one actually lets you customize which apps are on this front home screen, which we really like. It also gives you your quick access to your settings right here on the side. So if you don't want to have to go there, you can actually dim your screen as well there by pulling down that pull down menu there and all that sort of stuff. You got lots of access there. It gives you a little quick icon right to the equalizer settings, which is handy. So, and then up here is just for a navigation app, whatever you have set there. But overall, the radio is working really well. There's going to be, little bugs, I guess you could say, little software bugs, little compatibility issues here and there from time to time that you're going to have to work through. But overall, just a really great value. The sound quality is great. The size of the screen is fantastic. The responsiveness of the screen is fantastic. No issues with that. It's been really a joy to use so far. So there you have it, Lawn Care Nation. That is the Idoing Android head unit. Overall, it's been fantastic so far for the last few weeks. Like I said, there's going to be some bugs and some things that you're going to have to work through with the lack of documentation and all that sort of stuff. Hopefully this video gave you guys a bunch of information that'll help you work through those issues. But overall, in day-to-day use, it's been fantastic. That big vibrant screen is absolutely awesome to be using. Very responsive. There's been no kind of issues with it not working or turning on or anything like that. Once all those settings were kind of set to how we like them, it has worked pretty flawlessly so far. Again, I'm showing this off in my wife's 2016 Nissan Rogue. Obviously, this is not a lawn care vehicle, but the reason I wanted to show you guys this unit in particular is because they make them for so many different vehicles specifically. And like I said, you get that factory look with these units where it just looks like it was there from the factory, and you get all of that modern technology in an older lawn care vehicle. I was looking through the website. They've got lots of different possible uses, especially for the lawn care industry, lawn care guys, lots of different pickup trucks and stuff like that, where they have units that will fit in, some with much larger screens than even this one. So really neat. Go check them out on their website and see what they have available. Yeah, there you go. I'll leave a link below in the video description on where you can find these on Amazon as well, if you want to go check them out. But overall, so far, I think it's a fantastic unit and just looks so clean. That's my favorite thing about it, that large screen and just kind of that factory look. It doesn't look like an aftermarket radio. So that's it for this one, guys. Here's to wishing you guys all overwhelming success and freedom in your lawn care business. We'll catch you in the next one.